Every time you open to the obituaries, I just think this is going to go south in a hurry.
Well, it's sad. I don't want to be disrespectful there.
No.
How about if I just give you some crossword clues? Is that good media entertainment?
I don't think.
Could be interesting.
We have Garrett Adkins in the room.
Hey, Garrett, welcome to the podcast.
I'm here.
Media guru,
yeah.
CEO Impact Media.
Wow.
Who would know more about what's good entertainment than Garrett? Is it good entertainment if I just read you crossword clues?
You could if there's a little video game playing at the bottom of the screen and you just have the crossword going on there and people are just zoning out and the algorithms are saying this person's watching it because they're just waiting for you to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then Facebook or TikTok's like, this person's been watching this crossword puzzle for 3 minutes. Must be good content.
Let's feed him more of it.
Exactly.
Make it interactive.
Yeah, exactly.
I read the other day that the attention span of human beings is now sunk to 8 seconds. It was at 12. It's now sunk to 8. And what was the comparison? There was like, you have the attention span of a goldfish. Well, scientists have proven that theirs is literally 9 seconds. We've now fallen below goldfish, so don't even use that phrase. You're insulting the fish.
What were we talking about? I'm just kidding. No, I think, but it's
We'll get a
true,
graphic down there so you can follow along.
I think that's accurate. Even in social media, we say like, what's the hook of a piece of content? So what's the first 3 seconds you're gonna grab somebody's attention? Because they know that if you don't have somebody's attention the first millisecond or first 3 seconds, they're gonna continue to scroll. So I'm surprised even 8 seconds it sounds pretty good, or more than I would have expected.
God, I'm such a long storyteller. No one would ever hear me.
Tell me about it.
But I think the long form content like the podcast, I think is gonna become more appealing to more people because they want that longer format.
So go the other way with
Exactly.
it. We're pioneers.
You know,
Us and Rogan.
Rogan, good example. It's normally, you'll be a 3-hour episode, right?
Yeah.
I cannot listen to a whole one of those. It could be my favorite human being on earth, and I'm not going to listen to that for 3 hours. It's a me thing. Obviously, it works for a lot of people. It's the most popular thing on earth. But I have found what my attention span is. I was at a conference recently, and I really was enjoying the speaker. I was at a comedy show recently, and I was really enjoying the comedian, etc. This is real stuff. I could be on a Zoom call for work. There is a window of time when I'm just like, I've enjoyed it, and I've had enough. What would you guess that is for me?
I've been in a bunch of meetings with you. I know this.
25 minutes.
Yeah, he's going to be real close. I'm trying to think. I've seen you dedicate yourself to 30 minutes before you start closing your book up.
It's 35.
Yeah.
It could be anywhere from like 31 to 39-ish, but like right around 35, you're losing me.
We do this. Have you heard of the Pomodoro method? Which is like intervals of work session. So you work from like 25 minutes is a typical one, but some people expand on that, and you just do 25 minutes of focused work, and then you have to take a breath. You have to take a little 5-minute breather. So that's how some people try to work around that. I do it. It's worked for me a little bit.
Yeah, so we're planning our upcoming annual meeting in Nashville, which you will be there. Looking forward to.
Yeah.
Just let's not have any of the panels really be much longer than that 35. See, but then I wonder, I don't want to impose my own attention deficit on the rest of the world. What's your guys' number? Similar?
It depends. I mean, I think it depends what the content is, but between 30 and 60 minutes. And those longer podcasts, I always top an hour and a half is what I can make it. And that's like in 3 intervals of me driving different places, listening to it in the background. So yeah. I'd say 30 to 60 minutes really tops, but probably closer to 30 minutes for me.
Yeah, if I'm in a session, if this thing's running more than 40 minutes. I mean, I grew up Pentecostal, so we could have a church service go 3.5 hours. So, I mean, I've been conditioned my entire life for marathons.
3.5 hour church?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people get out, go eat, get back home, and start watching TV. We're still not even to offering. It's serious. I mean, what's eternity? You know what I mean?
I know.
Just getting us ready.
Hey, look, if there's anything you should spend 3.5 hours on, it's probably your faith. But goodness, is that even counterproductive at some point?
It's impressive to talk that long as a preacher.
I'm not going to tell the Lord that I don't have time for him, Jeff.
Well, you know, he designed us with these attention spans.
We had this preacher one time. He's like, don't worry. Golden Corral still be get there when we're done. And I'm like, I don't think so. They actually close. We're getting
everything's out.
I mean, Oh,
let me
anyways.
ask you about this headline.
Man, I've been wanting to know about that.
You're gonna wish I hadn't, because you're not gonna want to touch it. That's why we can edit it if it doesn't go well.
You're really searching for a headline.
Where'd it go to?
I
Where'd
see.
it go?
Right,
Hold on.
Yeah, right
Wait.
there it is.
Here you go. Gavin Newsom, California governor, vetoes bill to make free condoms available for high school students, citing the cost.
I've been wanting to talk about this.
Would cost too much.
Yeah.
Got a take on that? It would be
I'll
a 30.
I'll let you take this one first. I don't know. I want to comment on this one. I haven't read the full article yet.
Well, I mean, it's all in the headlines. There's
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
misleading in that. We can't afford to provide contraceptives to these children in schools in California because of budget issues. It's all in there. You don't
Pretty
have
clear to me.
Yeah.
What's your take, Jeff?
I mean, it seems like it wouldn't cost that much. How? Well,
Government contract.
I never lived in California. I don't know what's going on exactly.
Yeah. It seems like, you're probably not going to win either way on that, because I have a feeling that if you put those condoms in the bathroom, that you're just going to get the toilet clogged with them. They're going to make water balloons. They're going to do. I think most of the time they're not going to be used what they were designed for. You're going to have a lot of waste on the job. Number one, a lot of government
I've
waste.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You're on the committee.
Yeah.
Knew. Yeah. Well, I brought something for you all.
Related to this.
Thank God.
I was thinking about, mixing up the conversation for a second. I was looking at these mugs and I was like, these just aren't doing it for our friends of the secret VCG experience.
These mugs aren't?
So from the Impact crew, we decided to get you all
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
a little gift.
Look at that.
Look how nice that looks.
Look how nice that
Yes,
is.
and now you have the official mugs. We got a whole box full over here for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, it's red with the... I'm going to drink so much coffee out of this at the house.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
can have
really
multiple
kind
on the
out
table
of
at a
How
time.
many you got in that box?
We got 7 more.
Okay.
Thank you.
From the
I
Impact
don't know.
crew.
Who are we clamping for? You for
I
the
don't know.
gift?
For the mugs. I think we're
Yeah, for the
clapping
mugs.
for the mugs.
I've been told, by the way, that my shirt looks all goofed up on this episode.
It does.
The best thing you can do when something like that happens is call attention to it.
That's right.
That's what they always say in the biz, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Do they say
Just
that
lean
in the
right
biz?
into it.
Lean in.
Lean into it. Lean into the bit.
Okay.
Kinda-
Depends what school of
Is
thought
this
in the
better?
biz. That's too leaning in.
That's
You're
leaning
in
too
too
hard.
much.
You've leaned out
Yeah.
at this point. Yeah.
It's too much improv for this.
That's... And this is
Let's
really
get serious.
special.
Let's get serious. I know, it's really cool. Thank you.
It is. We
Yeah,
have a
of course.
sign. We have,
We're coming a long way.
merch.
Get a whole line.
Yeah, if you want me to sign one or whatever, just let me know.
Yeah.
So today is about Impact Media.
Okay.
Our good friends that have helped us come a long way.
Without them, we wouldn't
We
be
have
here.
in the room Garrett, Sam, Hunter, Spencer, Umi, and Austin. Love every one of them.
Every single one of them.
And probably a really cool bunch of stories that we can get through today, too. So let's
Okay.
get to it and stop
Let's-
acting like idiots.
I've been waiting on you to get serious.
Well, it is my fault. I agree with that. All right, Garrett. First, do you mind if we start off kind of your personal journey?
Yeah.
Then we talk about impact. But my question was, how did you even get into this field? Like as a kid, were you into computers and techie stuff, or was it more of the marketing, salesy, psychological stuff?
I think
What
it was
led
more-
you to this?
It was more the business aspect of it. So growing up, Sam's my brother, who we know behind the scenes over there, behind the cameraman over there.
Like, hold on. Yeah, that's great. Like biological brothers?
That's my brother, yeah. Biological
Yes.
brother.
You don't mention Sam, and I'm going to clap. I got you.
Biological. Okay.
Yep.
Never came up, but let's continue on.
Grew up together. He was making videos and movies and stuff, so I was around some of the media aspect of it, but it wasn't a major focus of mine. I was more into the entrepreneurial side of things. I would make mixtapes in middle school or sell candy or make T-shirts. Whenever we played against Cabell Midland, I would make the T-shirts against the school. Different ventures, went into university and found out Alibaba, shipped stuff in, sold on eBay, started different markets online. And that was really the start of it. And then I finished up through school, Left from there to go down to Costa Rica to travel around for a bit. I always wanted to become a digital entrepreneur. I read The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and I was like, it's possible to actually work from your laptop. That'd be very cool to work from anywhere. So I suppose just kind of like waiting around for it. Late night, 3 a.m. one night, I was like, I finally got to do it. I made a decision after 3 a.m. and bought a plane ticket to Costa Rica. Woke up the next morning, and about 2 months later, I'd actually traveled down there, and that kind of started my life of traveling around for the next 6 years. And during that time, it kind of forced me to learn more about entrepreneurship. And there's also been the social impact. So Impact Media, its mission is not only from a business perspective and a marketing perspective, but also to make positive impact for purpose-driven brands. So like Village Caregiving, doing awesome work in the world. So
what a story.
Yeah, I was traveling around for a bit and was working freelance on marketing projects. Picked up a camera along the way, kind of became a jack of all trades to a certain degree. Moved back to West Virginia, was planning to move up to Montreal again, which half our team is up in Montreal as well.
Umi is in from Montreal right now.
From Montreal right now, and and the world shut down for a little bit, and that kind of kept me in Huntington. And that's right when I started Impact. So through the pandemic, it actually was an opportunity for us to grow in the digital realm because more people were moving to the social medias, the digital platforms, and we were in a prime position to really help those businesses in that way. So I've been in Huntington ever since. We've been just about 4 years in business, and it's going good. But entrepreneurship was the key to it, and then the creative aspect was brought into play, and Sam really leads that department. So really excited about that.
You guys are excellent at it.
Well, fantastic.
God, I didn't know that story. That's really, really cool. You
Yeah.
can, especially as much as I like to travel and just do crazy stuff, man, do I relate to that? That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was a good jump, and I don't regret it at all. I think that was a great experience for me, and it was that late night decision. I was like, there's never going to be a perfect time for it, and it saved up just from those different businesses I had started in university and spent it all to backpack through Costa Rica for 2 months and travel around from there.
Did you have a moment of like breakthrough while you were down there? Was there this point where something happened, or was it just kind of a collection of the time you were down there that brought you back with this plan or this purpose? Or
Well, I think that was just like getting me out of my comfort zone. And then I moved up to Montreal for a month to do kind of an internship with some people up there. They had purchased some property and were starting kind of like an eco-village, permaculture, sustainable agriculture project up there. And all of them were digital marketers. So that kind of like gave me the opportunity to learn from the people who are already doing entrepreneurship, digital marketing. And I think through those connections and through those experiences, kind of made it feel more and more possible. Besides that, it was never one moment. I always had a vision or a goal, and reading the 4 Hour Work Week helped with that. But it was just trial and error over and over again, and learning and connecting with people. But through those connections and experience, Impact started and had made a lot of connections in the meantime. So we've really relied on word of mouth and connections and being from this local area to grow.
did you, during that trip, did you have a moment where you had to kill anything so it didn't kill you, or any near-death experiences you had to?
There were some scary experiences.
Okay, yeah, you guys laughed, but look here.
There were some scary. I jumped off some big waterfalls.
On purpose?
On purpose.
No.
Yeah, I was running through the jungle. But there were some like very early or late night bus rides that were a little scary and intimidating. There was some not too ideal hostels that I stayed at with little creatures and stuff running around late at night. But I got by, and it made me who I am today.
We had that problem at a Hampton Inn one time, didn't we? I'm just kidding.
No. So you're well traveled. Is there an importance to keeping Impact Media now here in the Huntington area? Is that something that's important to you, or is it just kind of worked out that way?
I think it is. I think West Virginia, Appalachia, specifically West Virginia, because I'm from here, has a place in my heart, and I feel like you see that with a lot of people who move away from West Virginia. They sometimes end up moving back, or even if they stay away, there's like this constant support for where they're from and this love and this appreciation of West Virginia. So to play a part in that and learn more about the programs that are going on, people in the community, seeing the businesses come out of the region is very inspiring, and it makes me want to be a part of that, and bring these different digital creative businesses, working on these platforms and the marketing that we can do, bring it to these local businesses in the region and play a part in it. There's like not one person that's going to completely turn around or lead the way for a full region, but if we can play a small part in it and make great content and promote businesses and promote nonprofits and people doing awesome work, then that's a valuable thing to contribute, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know you've done a lot of that in Appalachia too, specifically, and everywhere else, of course. But some of those stories, do you mind to tell us a couple of, higher profile clients you've worked with now and some of the big festivals and events that I've heard you talk about?
One of the clients we've been working with the longest has been Healing Appalachia, which they run an event out of Lewisburg. And it's a music festival where the artist donates their time or just the cost of their travel to actually play and raise money for the opioid crisis across Appalachia. So that's a really fun one because one, it's actually for a good cause, and then two, there's awesome artists on that lineup. We had This past year there was Trey from Fish. Tyler was a co-founder of that organization and festival, so he plays every year.
Tyler Childers?
Yeah, Tyler Childers, yeah. And a lot of great people. Arlo played, John R. Miller, the whole Whiz Bang gang, which we've been able to work with. A lot of great projects with it. That's one specifically that comes to mind that is really, really great to work with because there's so much awesome content and fun to be had. And it's really revolved around a great mission, and everybody on the board and everybody on that team is really passionate and great stuff, such as Charlie Hatcher, Ian Thornton, and Dave Lavender, doing some great work, among many other people on the board.
Dave and I grew up on the same road.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's a very cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep. He grew up just down the road from me, same bus route. He's a little bit older than I am, but...
Do you feel that you propelled him to success?
I would assume that I probably contributed a lot to it, probably from like a remote standpoint, because he wouldn't know who I am if you asked him, but... I can't imagine he would be where he is today if I didn't do what I do.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bring that up.
If he saw this, he'd be like, who is this guy?
But what if he didn't
see this? There's
what
a
if
strong
he
chance
didn't think this? What if he was like, oh my God, it's that guy. I know that guy. I don't know his name, but I know him.
He's been so influential. So, side note, is that when my uncle, who was this is no joke, was a famous jet car driver who we've talked about before. When he passed away, Dave wrote a very nice thing about my uncle on social media, and it was cool because I didn't realize that Dave knew who my uncle was. So so there's that connection.
He used to be on commercials for oil and cars and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, really?
Gustins are big in the car racing world.
I'm not familiar with that. No.
Yeah.
Well, better look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good social
You don't
post
have to
check it out.
He said you better. Like, you're not gonna. You've made it this long without it. So
if you don't, I will kill you.
Let me. Can I jump in here? I got a question for you.
Well, I had one question really quickly. Okay.
What are you able to at this point in time be selective in the brands that you represent or the people that you work with? Like if someone comes to you and they're like, we want to put bad chemicals in water, will you help us promote it? And you're like, we need the money, so here we go. Are you guys or do you get to have the freedom to be selective in the customers that you take on? Is that important?
It is important, and I think to a certain degree, yes. Like there's the reality of running a business and needing to take on certain projects and opportunities.
Yeah.
I think that somewhat through intention and somewhat just through like luck and connections, a lot of the projects that we do work on, there is a component of impact to it, which is always an additional benefit to it. There's some that we would absolutely say no to, such as the example that you just gave.
Sure,
that's so I can say that. And then the more that we grow, the more selective we get to be. I think there's sometimes there's misalignment in terms of values, which I think is important because you want to get the best product. And if you're having fun, we love doing this podcast.
Yeah.
It's a great time. So of course I think it shows through in our excitement. And Austin's whipping up lunch for everybody, and we got the mugs and stuff going out there. So it makes it funner to work on the projects that we're passionate about. And then two is if it's a business is in a certain place as well, because if they're realistically not in a great position, or they're not to the size yet, or we're not a good fit, even if we did take them on, then it's wouldn't have great outcomes. So sometimes it's best just to, even though there's a short-term maybe monetary gain from it, but what we would much rather do is work with people who there's longevity with and that we can grow with, and that there's more of a path and a journey together, as opposed to a one-off deal or trying something that we know is going to fail.
Sure. No, that makes perfect sense.
How many clients do you have right now? Can you give us an idea? I mean, it's not about the number of clients to you. It's about the right clients and doing the right thing and things like that. I know you're actually intentional about that.
Yeah. Probably like 14 or 15 projects right now we have going, because we do have some that are on retainer. We have our MRR clients. That's a monthly gig for us. And then there's other ones that's one-off projects. So we just come through and do a commercial as well. So I'd say a bit more than half, we're working with them every single month. And then a little less than that, it's a project that's coming through a specific ask or a specific need.
Yeah, and you've built up an excellent team.
Yeah.
It's continuing to grow. So you've been successful as a entrepreneur, a business leader. You have some advice in that role now, right? To a young entrepreneur, he's in West Virginia, he wants to start, or she wants to start her own business. What do you tell her? What is the most important thing that you would tell a young person that wants to start their own company?
I mean, if you want to have passion for sure, because if it's just an interest to you, or it's just a side hustle is a big thing nowadays. Like, you could probably make a little bit of money on the side, but if you actually truly want to build a business, you need to have a level of passion and commitment to it, which is awesome. But the second aspect of it, or what should be the first aspect, I think is just starting with it. I think it's creating that brand, making those social posts, starting to put yourself out there. There is no perfect path forward. I think there's a lot of things that I would do differently now that I'm learning in my career as someone who's in business that I would have liked to know at the beginning of it. But really the only thing stopping, I think, a lot of people is more so just taking that first step, committing to an idea, and then putting yourself out there and learning as you go. I think connections is a big one as well. So if you're able to meet people, network with people, create connections, use what's at your resources locally. There's going to be people out that's going to support you and help you and try to get you those opportunities with it. So I think networking, connecting with people is a big one, but more so than anything, it's really the Nike just do it.
Yeah, and as a leader of a staff, what do you think is the most important aspect of developing yourself as a leader? What's the best quality characteristic that a leader can have in order to be the best that he or she can be?
It's interesting. Got most of my team in here right now. I might want to just ask them what that would be. But
well, it's odd we have, so we're gonna wait and see what your answer is, and then I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Sam's was real interesting. I was like,
yeah,
makes sense now. I know you guys are brothers, but seemed really personal. I was like, Sam, I don't know if we can. But anyways, go ahead.
I think. Well, like I'm still learning. I'm still learning what that is. But I think it's a level of like having guidance and reassurance, but also not assuming that you have all of the answers. Like, I try to create an environment that, I'm open to any pushback or someone coming up with a different idea. And if you can justify it and change it, then I'd much rather optimize on that and be a place where if you do have an issue that you can feel open to go and talk to somebody about it. So that's the type of environment that I'm trying to create. I don't know if I'm always like the most successful in it, but I really do try to make an effort to be understanding and try to problem solve with people and try to be open and create an environment that you can have conversations and not feel like it's going to be completely shut down. Or I'd rather us work out an issue right then than something be held in for a long amount of time.
Well, that's right. We talk about that a lot too, which is you have to have an environment where people feel safe to challenge your ideas, bring problems to you, or you just have blind spots all over the place where it's going to fester and become something worse.
Yeah. I think it's like important to build the processes, and that's what I'm really focused on for the rest of the year is the SOPs and how to optimize and make things efficient, because I think there's freedom in structure, but as we're building the structure, I have a pretty good idea of how to optimize on things, but also not the person doing it day to day. So whenever I finish an SOP, I'll pass it over to Spencer and say, hey, can you double check this? And would you feel comfortable doing this every single day? And if there's a better way to do it, then let's chat about it.
Cool.
Has there been a thing at this point? You said you've done this since 2019, is that right?
Since Impact was started, November 2019.
Okay. Has there been that thing that you've read or that thing that you've done where you're just kind of like, oh, I thought I would have known that by now? Or, so recently I was reading a book and there was this page I write in my books, and I wrote, how do I not know that by now? I'm like nearly 40 years old. I'm a grown man with children. Like, how did I not know this thing by now? Have you stumbled? Recently we were in a meeting. We were trying to get to some real fundamental things of the organization at Village Caregiving. And we were really having a hard time drilling down to that exact, some mission stuff, some value stuff. We have these things and we're doing these things really well, but there was one thing that we were really trying to drill down to, and the people that would know the answer was in the room, but it was really hard to pinpoint a couple things. And I wonder, as this thing has grown for you and it's exposed some challenges, like you said, some things you're really good at optimizing things, but maybe not perfect at this particular thing. Has there been that thing for you where you're like, oh crap, I'm the adult that should know this thing? Have you ran into that, or am I?
Which example for yours, are you thinking about?
Yeah. So specifically for mine was very purpose driven. Like, what is the exact reason that I'm doing this thing at Village Caregiving?
Yeah.
Right. Am I doing this to get more people care? Am I doing this to get more people a job? Am I doing this to make as much money as what is that thing? When I went to write down the answer, I hesitated because I'm like, okay, why am I doing this thing every day? Thought I would have known it by now. So,
your why. I think that's a big one for us as well. Is we're going through something called Traction, which is by Gino Wickman. It's a business growing aspect of it, and there's those aspects of structure, company scorecards, and this different stuff that I think it's exposing different aspects of how do we put these things into place. But in line with what you're saying of what are we doing here? What are we growing here? It's something that I think about all the time. I don't know if that exactly answers your question with it, but I'm also someone who can see a lot of different perspectives, which is sometimes a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. Sometimes it's good to have a focus and be like, all right, I'm not listening to anything. I'm going to go in this direction. But from day to day, I can kind of understand both sides of the coin, so it takes a little bit longer to solidify an answer. But whenever it is justified, there's a lot more thinking into it, so I can move forward with a bit more confidence. But
yeah, I had framed the question, I think, as why do you get out of bed every morning to come here and do what you do? Or if your company didn't exist anymore, what would be different about the world? You know what I mean? What are you actually literally drill down that deep trying to make a difference and do here exactly? It's going to be a harder question to answer than you think.
Yeah. So with the way that we lay it out in our organization is to scale purpose-driven brands with paid media, with production and placement is our big thing. So using the power of storytelling to help create positive change. So we feel like marketing is a very powerful tool, and it can be used in good ways and in bad ways. Propaganda, it can be used for manipulation, but it can also be used for good.
For sure.
So I think using that enjoyment and also using
calm down over there.
Oh my goodness. Is the audience getting rowdy?
Yeah.
Security.
Throwing bottles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what gets me up in the morning is how do we create engaging storytelling and content that's going to grow brands that are trying to make the world a better place. And even the more that I've worked in West Virginia and Appalachia specifically, the more that I feel like even small businesses, they might not be the people that are pulling water bottles out of the ocean, but small businesses and people who are growing the art scene and the creative scene and small businesses, I think is just as much of an impact as someone who's pulling out water bottles, for example, from the ocean, if that makes sense. I
100% agree, especially in today's age. If you can't see stuff, if it doesn't tell a good story, it's what's a 1/100th of the impact?
Yeah.
And then maybe it shouldn't be that way, but it is.
Yeah.
And if there aren't people like you that are out there telling the stories, then it just doesn't have that same social impact that I hear you talking about. I mean, that's great stuff, and I completely agree with you.
Yeah, it's like the Coca-Colas and all those aspects. They have big marketing budgets, great storytelling and stuff, and to be able to use that for other projects and businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
After you, sir.
Yeah, no. What makes Village Caregiving and Impact a good partnership for you? What about Village Caregiving did you look at? Yeah, we could do well working with them, helping tell their story.
I think well, I was just like looking at different aspects of it, and I think one, my favorite part is that we just get along really well. I think like that's really important, and you want to like work with people that you truly like, which I feel like I instantly kind of started picking that up. First I met Matt, and then I met Jeff, and then we went to the conference and met just the amount of amazing people, which that really stuck out to me from Village Caregiving as a perspective, and it continues to do that. Every single person that we get to know, not just from being at the large conference last year, but everybody who walks through the door to do a podcast episode. It's like there's just awesome people that work at Village Caregiving.
Great people.
Great people.
We have the best people.
Great
man.
people.
They're awesome.
So that speaks for itself. And then, I mean, if you look at the mission, if you look at the vision, if you look what y'all are doing, I think that the impact portion really speaks for itself. And I didn't fully see that whenever I started learning about the brand or kind of doing my own research. And I was like, and then the more I talked to you all and got that story of connecting in person, I was like, there's so much more that can be shared here, and there's so much more that can be done. And there still is. Like, I always tell this to people, video and digital marketing is amazing. It's never going to beat meeting somebody in person, having conversations, shaking somebody's hand, but it can kind of come somewhat close. It's never going to replace it, but it's going to get somewhat close, and it can touch way more people than you can one-on-one.
Yeah. Well, you've certainly helped us with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's great it's fun too. That's what we enjoy the most.
One question that I've just wondered for a long time is, who do you like more, Jeff or me?
See, I want you to, whenever you show that question, show this wide shot where you can see me too in it, because you'll see that I'm already knowing he's full of crap. Like, as soon as I can just see a certain little line come out in his face, and I'm like, this isn't a real question. I know it's not a real question.
The reason why is because that's on Jeff's card, and he let me see it before the interview.
It's coming up. You forgot you wrote it.
And I wanted to take it.
You know what? Actually, it is, but I'd already checked it off because I was going to be.
You already knew.
I was going to be a bigger man than that. I was going to be more mature than that.
You wrote the question.
I will ask you a similar question.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't for you.
Okay.
Garrett, who do you think is a bigger fan of Austin, me or you?
That's a great question. If you ask Nicole, my partner, she knows that I love Austin. Talk about Austin's the man. I don't know, actually, because I know that you love Austin, and I don't really want to give it up that easy of a fight.
Well, we could settle this in a duel.
I feel like it's me. I know that you're a big fan. I know you admire.
You think it's
see him
you
in passing, but it's me.
Well,
could there be anything that could settle this debate?
would you just care to read that?
To my biggest fan from Austin Creel.
Wow.
All right.
Case closed.
Proven wrong.
Well, that is you're right, a very
Brought the receipts and everything.
similar question, but yeah, what was done out of kindness has now been turned for evil. Well,
Weaponized that signature.
Last serious question I have on here. What is the ultimate goal for Impact Media?
that's a good question.
What we had it written down was to, I think this is still stands true. I'd like to rework it a little bit, but I'm still going to say it, is to cross 100 million timelines with a positive message, and to like reach that many people with content that's going to make them think or make them consider something or have a positive impact on their life. So that's what we really want to do. And
100 million timelines
Yeah.
for a dope like me. How big a dream stretch goal is that? Is that like crazy to think about?
no,
or-
not at all. We
Okay.
probably probably close to half of that already, I would say.
Yeah, this thing's almost over.
God, you guys are killing it.
Yeah, we've had.
Yeah, they're selling it next
Well,
year.
seriously though, okay, so let's be serious. That was a vision and a dream for the company at one point. You're halfway there.
Yeah.
Now the fun part can begin. Now you get to set new goals.
That's where we're at now. Set new goals.
Okay, so what are those?
Which I think it's more of a generating a certain amount of revenue for purpose-driven brands, because the more that we get into it, the more that I learn about business, the more that I grow my entrepreneurial career, is that money is energy and it makes the world go round. If you're able to allocate it to small businesses, to purpose-driven brands, that can have a major effect on the world and have one of the biggest positive impacts. So there's positive impacts in someone reading a book and, being the change they want to see, and kind of living and acting a certain way. But also from what we do and what we can do and what we're set up to do, is to grow people's online presence. But also, to grow your online presence, you have to be a sustainable and growing business. So we're kind of seeing how we can track those metrics a bit more, and allocate and siphon more money into those purpose-driven brands.
Is social media here to stay?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I think it's gonna switch up a little bit. I don't know exactly what the next few years look like. I know that VR is gonna be a thing. But yeah, social. It is. Media is digital, social. We're always going to be interacting and engaging. So I think, yes,
okay,
we're always going to be.
How could it not be here to stay? I thought you were kind of being silly, and then you took the question seriously, and then I felt dumb. I mean, it's here.
Well, I think it's a good question. I think it's always going to be here to stay. But I think as it grows and becomes a bigger thing, people. So someone asked me the other day, it's what are you considering with AI, and how is that affecting the way that you think about growth and community as we go into more of this virtual artificial intelligence world? And my answer was they're expecting me to say, how do you set up a chat bot, or how do you do this XYZ? And my answer is more so, yes, know that different stuff, but also I think that human connection in smaller communities going to become more and more powerful. I think a lot of people are going to go online, and virtual has become more and more of a thing, but more people are going to value their local community, going out to lunch, grabbing stuff. We've kind of separated from that, but I feel like a certain subset of people is going to want to come back to that.
Huh.
Gosh, what a
smart
question.
guy, thoughtful too.
Yeah, and his answer was good too. I
could talk all day long about this stuff. I'm kind of really fascinated with it. So, okay.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I want to know is what's in this fishbowl.
That's what I've been wondering all day.
I mean, for months now, you've circled the fishbowl.
I've watched it. I've seen it.
Yeah, but you've not experienced it.
I haven't experienced yet.
Yeah.
It ain't fish.
Fishbowl.
It ain't fish, but we're fishing for something.
Let me ask you a question. All right? Just one, though. Let me ask you a question. Which foods do you have to eat hot? ?
Which food do you have to eat hot? ? I was eating cold pizza last night, and it was pretty good.
So that you take pizza off the list.
Can take pizza off the list for sure.
Mashed potatoes
hot
are not
chocolate.
good cold. Hot chocolate, yeah. Then
Has
you're
to
just
be hot.
It's just chocolate milk, if not.
Yeah.
You could eat a cold meatloaf sandwich. You could.
That sounds good. The meatloaf was one of the things that came to mind that wouldn't be good as good cold.
Yeah, beef stew. If that's cold, no one's happy.
Yeah, it's an accident bite.
Yeah.
Put that back in the microwave.
Yeah. Jeff, is there any foods that you're just absolutely required? If this thing is not above room temperature, I'm out on it.
I can't believe that you don't have. I just must be the most picky person on earth. Or I think about just these things. There are certain food items that when if I'm cooking them for the family in the house, you better be sitting down ready to eat, because this is not going to be good in 120 seconds.
Yeah.
You have to eat it pretty much now. Get to the table.
I'm the opposite with it.
You don't know what these are? And I'm not playing around, son. I'm eating them right now. I don't care if they're on the table. I'll be done.
Let us judge it. Tell us.
Okay, number 1, eggs.
Yeah.
The eggs need to be hot. When you take them, that's the last thing. You ever cook breakfast for the family, you can make the bacon first. It'll sit there cold, be fine. Hash browns, cheese on them, whatever the thing is. When the eggs come off, the breakfast begins. You can't have them sitting there getting cold and gross. That's awful.
Do you eat hard-boiled eggs cold at all?
Those are okay cold.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an exception.
Yeah.
Okay, eggs for breakfast, hot.
Number 2, scallops. They've got to be hot, and boy, they'll get cold in 90 seconds if you're not careful. You got to be scarfing them down.
I've never had a scallop, but let's continue on.
I'm being serious.
Yeah, I pass a lie detector test right now.
Okay. And 3 is one you kind of mentioned is French fries. You can't reheat them. They're gross. They're gross. They just wad up in your mouth and get big. It's disgusting.
Yeah, those aren't very good cold. They'd be okay room temperature, but the air fryer was an interesting invention to bring because it kind of still brings that sizzle.
Throw
and
those
spice
guys back
and
in
kind
there.
of gets it crispy again. Which
Are you an air fryer?
We have one, and Cameron uses it a lot, and it does taste good. I just don't ever mess around with it.
I really think it really had its golden years there for 1 year, and now I don't hear about it as much.
I'm basically out on a microwave. at this
Spencer is cracking up. What's up?
point. Are you an air fryer? Is that what got you? Yeah, sorry.
Are you an air fryer?
Sorry. It's I didn't go to Chuck Yeager School of Learning apparently. God, we can never have anyone on from Marshall. The embarrassment that I've caused. Okay, so is there a certain
proud
food
alumni right here.
is there a food that you have to eat hot?
Yeah, I just gave him 3.
No, not you. You.
I feel like the scallops would be weird. Yeah, scallops is kind of hard to picture. Eggs is a little bit like, I could probably go either way. It could be a little bit less than hot, but I actually don't like stuff when it's straight off. I don't like stuff when it's really, really hot. Even with pizza or something, I like to let the cheese kind of solidify a little bit.
Good call.
Otherwise, you're pulling it and like.
You got to, man. It's like a lasagna. You can't just go cut
go
into
into
that
it too hot,
soup
you're
when
burning
it's too
yourself.
hot. You got to let it settle.
That's it has to be hot is spaghetti. Once those noodles start to set up, that sauce starts to cool down. I mean, just put it in the trash. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't mind a cold noodle all that much.
Well, we have determined we will never be roommates.
What's the best kind of pasta? What shape? You know what I like a lot?
Tell me.
Angel hair.
I was just going to say that.
A good
Angel hair is
thin
the best.
noodle.
It gives you a better, because the way that it coats the,
Easy
say
bite.
it's Alfredo or whatever, it's a better sauce to noodle ratio. You get a lot more sauce on there, the thinner.
Oh, yeah.
So specific.
Yeah.
on
Good
ratios.
stuff.
Should go to at Olive Garden for me.
Let me ask you one more question. And this is something I thought if I ever get Garrett on the podcast, I'm going to ask him.
Oh, be good, please.
Yeah. People on TV used to hyperventilate into a bag a lot. I wonder why we don't see that anymore.
Is it inhalers? I don't know.
Just next.
Garrett, there's one question that I have just been dying to ask you. And I thought, man, if I ever run into Garrett and there's a microphone nearby, I'm going to ask him this. Okay, I was recently in a restaurant where I saw a sign that a man played guitar there for 114 hours straight. Do you think that's possible?
I mean, the sign said it happened, so I would expect that to be the case, unless it was.
Be a very odd sign to post if that didn't happen.
Yeah, very specific. I don't know. If that didn't happen, I want to meet the person that wrote that sign.
Yeah.
Be a creative person, creative individual.
One of my favorite pranks is when you send someone in to get flowers and they're in the earpiece and you have to tell them what you want the person to write on the
This
card.
is one of your favorite pranks?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
When you have to, and it's in the earpiece and they're like, what would you like for the card to say?
Where do you see this on TV?
Yeah. Do you like pranks? That's odd. We could be roommates.
I like a good prank.
God, I
like
love a good prank.
I like watching them, like the YouTube reels. I could watch pranks for like 20 minutes. And I
Yeah.
also like being a part of pranks as well. I haven't had a good prank in the office here recently.
They're probably good for morale.
Yeah, we got a couple good group chats going on our Slack thread, but
Do you remember
nobody's
any
getting
office pranks?
I don't know. Watch out for tomorrow morning, though. Whoever opens that door might get a bucket of flour.
Have you had a good prank in the office lately?
Yes, I recently, when you come in the back door where the little cafe nook is,
Yeah.
I knew people was coming up the ramp, and as soon as I walked in the door, I just slid immediately into that, and because no one was expecting me to be there, and so as they would come through, hey, and I'm.
That's not much of a prank. You just jumped out and scared somebody.
Yeah, it was jump scares, but it was great. Boy, people really react different to that. Some people laugh. Some people, like Zach Wellman, act like they're going to punch you in the face. I love a good. I do my best work in pranks. That's where I really contribute to society.
You love a prank.
God, I do love a prank.
I know you do.
Yeah.
You know the pranks that we used to do like back in, say, college, and I lived in this big 20-some story high dorm tower at University of Kentucky. Blanding Tower. It's been torn down. But we would do the awfulest things to people that really would ruin their room for quite a while. And it didn't even take work. It was just stupid, mean stuff. Like, and it happened to me too. So turnabout was fair play.
Yeah.
One, you'd take like a manila envelope, like a big letter size envelope, and all you had to do was fill it up with shaving cream or something, slide it under the door, stomp on it, ruin the whole room. It flies out all over the place, and they got to clean up shaving cream for it all day long.
I'm on a call. I see that going through the bottom of my door.
You're going to be so upset.
Listen, that would happen too. If you saw it coming under there, it was like,
dude, you got someone that's diving in front of it.
Yep. Other one, they made the mistake in that tower, the doors opened in. So it was real common. Somebody's going to get a trash can, fill this huge thing up with water, lean it on your door. You open to go to class. You've flooded your room. Stuff happened all the time. It was just so mean and unnecessary.
Oof. God, I would prank more often at work, but I need this job is where I'm at in life. I would spend more time than I should on it. But I don't think you guys would have the patience or tolerance for it, so I choose not to do that.
I would, well, I think I'd like it.
Well, we'll check back in about that.
We're going to, we're talking about maybe being roommates at some point. Would you like to move in?
Sure. Yeah. What are y'all thinking? You can stay around the area, or you think about...
Well, we have that apartment on Main now that we could just kind of try it out. We wouldn't have to commit to anything. Like, I'm not going to change my address or anything, but...
He's completely lying, by the way. Do you know that whenever we go on a trip, he won't even share a room?
I won't. No.
He really doesn't want anything to do with me or you.
Yeah, he's that roommate that just stays in his room.
Yeah, I'm a great roommate. Well, man, I appreciate you coming all the way down to the studio today.
Yeah.
Bringing your friends and family with you.
Exactly.
You've officially traveled the least for this podcast. Which is,
we're in your room.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat this.
We traveled to your podcast.
Yeah. No, I really
walk down the hallway anytime.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it.
Give me the word.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time. It's nice to be on this side of the camera and see what it's all about. Yeah. And big fan of the podcast and love seeing the evolution of it and looking forward to seeing some of these mugs.
Yeah, we've gotten way better at it too, so that's a plus, right?
I don't know. Maybe. But thank you for the gift.
Yeah.
And no joke, you guys are geniuses here at Impact. Thanks to all of you. And I'll plug it all day, every day of the week. Not only is it a great product, you're really fun to work with and good people. And best wishes for all the success to you guys in the world.
Thanks for the testimonial right there.
You got it.
Cut it.
I mean every word of it. Cheers, man.